What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I just want to say, I know lately the channel has been very underwhelming with content, but trust me, there is a ton coming over the winter. I've just had a lot on my plate. There's a lot of stuff been going on. I've just been trying to catch up. Winter's coming, so I've really just been focused on getting the things I need to get done, especially on the house, like getting it ready, like winterize and the garage filled up and all that. But I promise there's tons of videos coming out. Even the one we're about to do right now, it should be happening way at the end of the videos that I have recorded, but a company reached out to me. They sent me a product and I want to test it. I don't want to keep them waiting. I've already had it for 2 weeks, so I really don't want to wait longer than that. But the company, it's MeiAuto. I'm assuming it's pronounced that way. They reached out a while ago and asked me if I wanted to try installing one of those Android head units for the STi. Funny enough, we did the install on the Civic. Tons of people loved it. It helped a lot of people, so I'm happy about that. And I ended up doing one for the Legacy GT. I've yet to upload that, but it is coming. So just so you know, that is coming. It's exciting. But let's go ahead and just break this thing open and see what we're getting. There's a ton of these Android head units on the market, so I'm interested to see how this one sizes up to the others, especially because now I have two vehicles that both have one, so it's going to be interesting to see how that is. Let's get her open. Alright, that's the box. There's really not too much going on. The website, if you guys want it. But I am actually very excited we are doing this install. Funny enough, the one car I really wanted one of these Android head units was the STi. I just could not justify getting one, being the radio was fine. The Civic, the car needed it. It's a Civic, had a hold head unit, so, and the Legacy GT, being that it's my daily and I use it all the time, I really just wanted something to use Waze and maps and all that jazz. So, yeah, the only thing that's a downside with this is we are losing our CD player, and I feel like for most people that's not really a downside. But for me, every now and then, I do enjoy listening to my CDs. I got a nice, I'm a big Posty fan, so I like to bust that out every now and then. Honestly, first glance, doesn't look too bad. What's cool is they actually added the silver trim around the bezel, so it looks a lot like OEM. There is a bit of just, I guess you could say, overspray on that edge right there, which I don't entirely love, so I might see if later on I can knock that down a bit, just so it looks even cleaner. But yeah, first glance does not look too bad at all. I did tell them that I have a Harman Kardon setup. I'm assuming it's going to be this guy. But yeah, this would be like your subwoofer, aftermarket sound system, mic. Mic I usually don't even end up installing. I know some people, they tend to have issues with installing these, but in my honest opinion, you just look at the connector, Like these are obviously going to go to the car. That's the car side. That's going to go to your head unit, and you just match up the pins. Like that goes there. It's kind of hard to mess it up. Now, I don't want to install it yet just because once it's put on, it's a little more difficult to line everything up. It also comes with, it looks like a USB 3, two more. This looks like the GPS, which I always hide mine, so I'll show you guys what I do for that. I don't like seeing these on the dash. Cam VIN. I'm not entirely sure what this is. Maybe this is with the OEM camera. So we'll have to see. And then that's your mic, obviously. I think this would be like if you have like a SIM card plugged into your car. And then depending on what car model you have, you might have to swap out these. So that, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Nope, that one looks right because we have the control. Yeah, so I think this would be more like your Forester. So let's go ahead, move on to the car and start tearing it down. I removed my radio a couple of years ago when I installed one of those little metal brackets to hold the airlift little controller. So I don't entirely remember how to do it. I know some stuff has to come apart. There's a couple 10 mils that are really difficult to get to, but it shouldn't really be too bad. Fall is among us. So first things first, I just want to make sure I don't have a CD in here. I don't believe so. And then this is the bracket I was talking about earlier. Disconnect your battery and let's just break into her. Alright, so from what I remember, this is the most challenging part. So I'm just gonna shove stuff in there Let's see how it goes. Seems to be going well. Yeah, it's going well. It is going well. 2 connectors on the back. Comes off. Might as well get these now. Okay, now let's get the bottom 2. That comes off. It's a Phillips. Just 1 Phillips all the way down there. So that just pops out pretty easy. So it's definitely difficult to see. I can't even see it right now, but that's it right there, right behind the black cable. You can't see it now, and now you can. It's right in there. So I literally just lost my 10 mil. I just had to find another. The angle that I gotta look at to get this, it's pretty absurd. Like, that's what I'm doing. So you're gonna want a really long extension. I forgot how much this sucked to take out. Luckily, I don't think they're going back in. I don't think those holes in there are utilized. So we never got to deal with that again, which is pretty nice. And I'm pretty sure my 10 mil fell inside. I have no idea where it is. I can't find it. Let's get the passenger side done. It should be a lot easier than this because even the bolt was rounding off. Good luck if you're doing this. All right, this side should be easier, but it's fairly similar. Now that comes off. Let's take everything out because I'm pretty sure we got to drop this. Actually, can I just pop it? I think you just squeeze the 2 tabs. There we go. And it should just unclip. Man, I remember when I first got this car, I was so nervous doing that. You kind of get to a point to where you just manhandle everything, rip it out. And actually, yeah, you didn't have to take this cover off. I'm realizing that you can already see the bolt. It's funny, last time when I was doing this, I was taking off the glove box trim and everything. So I'm kind of doing something similar now. Now this bolt, it is right there, right above the yellow cable. Right there, guys. A lot easier to get to. I do really hope I find my 10 mil though. I've never lost a 10 mil until now, apparently. Oh, I think it fell. Yep, it fell. All right, let's get this radio out. All right, this should just come out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's coming. Now this though, is this in the way? Oh no, she's good. She's good. All right, so I could sneak you guys in here, but I think it's kind of obvious. You just got to disconnect everything. Let me look for my 10 mil quick. I feel like it's in there. But this is out. We're gonna have to bring this back over to the workbench because we got a little bit of tear down we got to do. So what we're doing now is essentially, this is what's going in. And well, I mean, that's obvious, but we need to keep the climate control. So to do that, it's real simple. And just look how thin this is. That is just absurd. Like, bro, what? So now actually that I look at it, I was thinking maybe these screws went into there, but I don't think that's the case. So yeah, these little tiny 10 mils that are a pain to get to, they are obsolete. You no longer need them. We're just gonna use a Phillips, remove 4 Phillips, swap this over to there, and it is good to go. How is the fitment? Well, that's nice. This is probably the best fitting one I have seen yet. The Legacy was horrid. overall I'm still not even happy with. This one's really nice actually. Civic wasn't too bad. It did take some modification. But this one I think is pretty straightforward. I think this is one of those head units where they actually got it pretty dialed in for the replacement plastic trim. We're pretty much ready to install. But actually the fitment's real nice. I cannot complain about that. Later on I am going to see if I can clean that up a little bit. I just don't love that. It was so close to being perfect. Except for that. Another thing we're going to have to transfer is our hazards. So you know what? I'm going to grab that right now. I'll admit, I even forgot you had to do the vents. Silly me. There's just these little clips on all the edges. Take like a pry tool and pop it out. It's really not too bad. That should just pop in. Awesome. Pops in. Ah, gorgeous. Now these, again, they should just slide in like factory. I don't know if it's better to do the top first or the bottom. Even pressure, and it's in. Wow. I'm impressed. After working on the Legacy and the Civic and how brutal it can be installing these, everything just kind of lines up. It's nice for a change. I said I was going to do this in the car, but honestly I think I'm going to do a little bit of it here just because I could see everything really clear. So that black connector, like I said, it's probably like a 24 pin. I'm not going to count it. I'm just going to assume that's likely going right here. Now I don't quite know what this is. I'm going to assume it's for the camera. It looks like it's going to go right here. It probably very well is instructions showing you exactly where everything goes, but me being me, I ain't reading it. So if you want the fan, you have to plug it into here. So we are indeed using it. It is indeed going in the car. It's the biggest white connector. It's hard to miss. It's looking like that. All right, now it's the fun part of plugging everything here in the car. We're gonna try the purple wire on this big bundle here to see if that's the fan. If that's the case, I might even just remove this because I don't think I'm gonna end up using anything on here. So I decided to take the purple wire from here to hook up to the fan, see if that indeed is the power for the fan. If not, we're gonna use this. I'm not entirely sure. And then I found there's a black and white and a white wire that's on this bundle of wire. I decided to just run it in. Let's go ahead and throw this in the car, see if it works. So it's actually the next day. I finished up installing the radio yesterday, realizing I forgot to delete all the personal stuff on it. Removed the radio, put the old one back, and I figured let's just record it again because it was night and you couldn't really see. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna install the little GPS module sensor thing. I hate having them on the dash. I don't care if I lose a little bit of like service or accuracy with it. I'll never put them on the dash. I usually tuck them underneath the dash. I think I found a spot where I want to put this one. Also, I'm pretty sure this is like the 4G antenna. I don't think I'm going to bother putting that in just because I don't really ever plan on using 4G in this car. I've never done it with any of my cars. I don't plan it with this car. If you were to use it, you would just install it somewhere on the dash. I'm going to put it in here somewhere, and then you would just thread them in there. So there's GPS and then there's 4G. Let me stick this somewhere. So definitely not the best angle, but I think I can just shove it up in here. Yeah, we're gonna put it right here. So I'm not even gonna test it. I'm just gonna put it on because I think it's gonna work. I think I'm gonna run this in behind here a little. I'll just hide it in here. Now, I will say not all the connectors are going to be used. There's a few that you are not going to end up using. I don't know why that is. It just doesn't plug in. Let's go ahead, wire it up, and see what works and what doesn't work. I have a feeling it's already going to work because I tested it already. I did not test reverse. Don't know how that exactly is wired up, and if we needed these extra plugs like this, I have no idea. So we'll find out. It all just pretty well plugs in. So this big one on the bottom, that's your HVAC controls. That's factory still. Right in, no problem. So the GPS just goes here. The rest of them, I have no idea what they do. I just find a plug and plug them in, that's it. This gray and this blue one, from my understanding, don't plug into anything. There's one connector on the wiring harness that's been taped up. I don't think we end up using it, so I'm not gonna bother taking it out. And then I got one connector here that's a purple wire with one pin. No idea what it goes to. This blue one, I have no idea. I don't know if we end up using these yellow cables here. So I'm thinking we just turn it on, see what works, what doesn't work, and then go from there. Gonna have to test, see if the fan even kicks on. I ended up removing the USBs that I said I was going to put on. I just feel like I'm not going to use them, so I don't really want to have them in the car. We're also not hooking up the mic. I got to test to see if that still works. And I'm not hooking up the 4G. Let me just put it in place and see what happens, I suppose. Just shove it all in. All right, what do we got? So as you can see, boot up is crazy fast. But as is, like it's really quick. So this beeping is pretty annoying. I'm gonna see if I can turn that off. Bluetooth, I already set it up. It was a little awkward to get it going, but I ended up getting it set up. It wasn't too bad. Just you come here and then you go to link and then you can hook it up. I changed the buttons to red. You can do whatever colors you want. So Waze works, maps work. I obviously just don't want to show you that. Let's see, does reverse work? The car might have to be on for that. Battery is dead. It works. Now that we know it works, let's go ahead and just install it. I'm amped. It looks really sick. It's actually pretty responsive. It seems pretty, you know, seems like a good head unit. It looks like this is a jackpot. You can't go wrong with this one. Install is pretty easy. I just got to hook up the hazard button. Let me show you though that camera wire. So it was one of those yellow ones with the blue wire that I was questioning. It's not really labeled, so I just kind of guessed and plugged one in until it worked. But that blue one I mentioned, that's it right there. And I just plugged in one of these yellow wires. There's two. I just tried one until it worked. Yeah, you can kind of see that. All right, let's plug it all in. Okay, it's in. I struggled a lot more there than I should have. I just felt like something was blocking it and it wouldn't allow it in. Basically, I just lined up the top first, started to kind of slide it in, lined up the bottom, felt it going in. I just hit it and it went in. I suppose, can you see that? Let's get that peel. Not bad. I may get a screen protector for this later. My Legacy came with one, which was pretty nice, I gotta admit. All right guys, would you believe me if I told you this is the third time I've tried filming an outro for this video? Because it is. I was editing the footage and honestly I just wasn't happy with the things I had to say about the head unit. One thing I will say is MeiAuto has not told me to say a single thing. I have been able to use the head unit now for a couple of weeks, and honestly, it impressed me. I will admit, it impressed me. I was a little worried about the RAM being only 4 gigs because whenever I was buying a model, I was looking specifically for 6 gigs. That being said, if you ever want more RAM, you could always just go ahead and download it. I'll provide the link down below. But even with the 4 gigs of RAM, the head unit's really responsive. I was, like I said, impressed. And one of the things that I really like about the head unit is when I'm using like Waze, I can have my phone locked. I don't have to have the screen open. Whereas on Dawn Civic, I have to have the screen unlocked. Otherwise, I like lose GPS signal and then I just don't get actually updated on the maps. Whereas on this, yeah, you can probably tell I'm I was in bed the last few days. What I was saying was on this, I can have my phone put away, doesn't have to be charging, whatever. It's keeping up with where I am. So I'm really hyped about that. And the boot up was really quick. The only real complaint I have with this head unit is the whole Android Auto Apple CarPlay connection, because as you can see, it says waiting for device. But if I look at my Bluetooth, I'm connected to Zachery STi. So usually if I close the app, go back home, hit CarLink again, it typically will connect, like you see. So honestly, that is the only real complaint I have with the head unit, is randomly just the Android Auto does not connect 100% right away. I was thinking maybe like a simple update would fix this, but I haven't been able to see a proper way of updating it, whereas all the other head units, it was pretty straightforward. I reached out to the seller, they asked if I was on Android 12, and I am, so I'm assuming that means it's up to date. But typically, whenever you get these head units, there's an update, you know? So it was kind of weird how there's no update. The only other weird thing, and I will demonstrate it now. So there's this button, you can see I'm dragging around. That kind of just comes on as soon as you get the head unit. And if you click it, it pops up with all these options. So you can like go to apps and you could just, you know, do all these things. But when you open it, there's no way to actually like close it. The only way I found to close it, to close it, you got to go to black screen. So once you turn the screen back on, then it's gone. I found that button really annoying. I found out if you go over into your apps, you go to touch assistant, you can remove it just like that. So no longer got to deal with that. I think that's it. I know if you use Bluetooth, the audio is a little funky. It's almost like quieter, but honestly, that's not a big deal for probably 99% of the people using this, because they're going to be using CarLink anyways, which is your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Almost forgot, there's one thing I want to mention, and that has to do with the steering wheel controls. It's super easy to set up, and I'll show you guys right now. Gotta get Tate McRae out of here. We gotta go home. We gotta go to our apps, and then we go over to SWC, which is steering wheel controls. So you select one of the options, and you select one on your steering wheel, and it will set it up. If you don't know what to do, you would just read the writing down below. It will literally tell you everything you need to know. It's super easy, super simple to set up. Honestly, it's the simplest steering wheel control I had to set up for one of these radios. All my buttons work. Like you can see, my volume works. I can skip forward. I could, you know, mute it, stuff like that. It all works. Even like hanging up and answering a phone call, that works too. Whereas my other cars, I've had issues making that work. That's it. It seems like a solid head unit. Reverse works. You could also make it so when you're reversing, you can have the audio completely off, or you can lower it to like 10%. I have it at 10% just because you might as well keep the audio on. Yeah, that's it. I think it's a solid head unit. If you guys are interested in one, I'll provide the link down below. You guys can pick one up. I recommend it. I think it's an awesome upgrade that, in my opinion, every STI should have. Like, come on, it's just modern. Like, my Legacy has it, the Civic has it. Just get it. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and take it easy.